The Baltimore Ravens have everything they need to be Super Bowl contenders. They have a good roster with a mix of veterans and young good players, and of course they have a young star quarterback in Lamar Jackson. But will a tough schedule be too much to overcome? The question for the Ravens has never been the regular season. It has always been, how will the Ravens perform in the postseason? How will Lamar Jackson perform in the postseason? We have no doubt that he is going to come into the regular season and absolutely ball out. But now we actually have the schedule. The schedule is officially released. We now know who will we be playing in what week. So I'm going to be going week by week, giving my prediction, how I feel about the games right now as we sit here today. Now keep in mind, I've done this before, and I believe before the Ravens 2019 season where we went 14-2 and Lamar Jackson ended up winning MVP, I actually had the Ravens going 9-7, so take my opinions with a grain of salt. But here we go, we're just going to jump right into it, and I'm going to give you my genuine thoughts and reactions here. So the very first game of the season for the Ravens is actually on the road, and it is a primetime game. It is Monday Night Football against the Las Vegas Raiders. So I was actually thinking about going to this game, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen because I don't know if you've seen the ticket prices. My God, it's just not worth it. I'm sorry. I would much rather watch it at home or watch it at a bar and enjoy myself there and actually be able to afford a couple beers here and there. But so the Ravens start off the season against the Las Vegas Raiders on the road. It's an interesting matchup here in week one. I do believe that the Ravens are the better overall team. So that being the case, I am going to have to give the win to the Baltimore Ravens. For one, I do think that the Raiders are up and coming. I think that they're going in the right direction with their roster. I think they're starting to build their defense a little bit more. Their offense is pretty solid. But my question mark is here. How will Derek Carr perform against the Ravens secondary, which I do believe is one of the best in the NFL? So not to say Derek Carr is not a good quarterback. I believe he is average to above average. But the Ravens secondary, I said but, just ignore that. I do believe that the Ravens secondary and the Ravens blitz and the Ravens pressure will be giving Derek Carr a lot of trouble there. On top of that, the Ravens have started off the seasons these past few years extremely hot. They win by like 40, it seems like, every single week one now, ever since Lamar has been on the team. So I am going to have to give the Ravens the first win of the season in week one against the Raiders. So for week two, the good news is it is a home primetime game on Sunday Night Football. But I'm afraid I've got some bad news, that the team that the Ravens have to face just so happens to be the boogeyman for the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, I am referring to the Kansas City Chiefs. They are coming to town in week two. And I know, another early Kansas City Chiefs game for the Baltimore Ravens in primetime. Now, I'm sure that you would love to watch this video and see me say that this is the year, this is the season that the Ravens finally get the monkey off their back and they finally go and beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home. But unfortunately, I don't think that I can say that. I don't believe that the Ravens are ready. And the reason that I'm saying that is because we have not seen it happen yet. Every single time the Ravens and John Harbaugh has to face up against the Chiefs and Andy Reid, we get completely and utterly out-coached. The coaches come into these games against the Kansas City Chiefs and they throw the game plans out the window and they say, let's just be conservative and let's suck the entire game. That's exactly what happens. So not to say that I don't have any faith in the Ravens being able to beat the Chiefs, but I have just not seen any reason for me to think that this is the season that they will get it done. I believe that the Ravens once again lose to the Kansas City Chiefs on primetime. Unfortunately, one thing we can hope is that it's not an embarrassing fashion. I have the Ravens at 1-1 to start off the season. Going into week 3, it's another road game against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. This is a morning game for myself since I live in California at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. for most of you guys, and it's in Detroit. This should be an interesting matchup, but I do believe that the Ravens should be able to take this. The Lions have Jared Goff starting at quarterback. I am actually a little bit higher on Jared Goff than a lot of people are, than most of the league is, even his own former team, the Rams, who just traded him away. And I do believe that the Lions are going in a good direction. Maybe, but we've been saying that for the Lions ever since, pretty much their entire franchise history. So we'll have to see what direction they do end up going. But I do believe the Ravens are the better team, even if it's on the road. I don't believe that the Ravens are going to be afraid of going to Detroit unless, of course, they are sitting outside of the stadium and they might potentially get robbed. So the Ravens start off 2-1 going into week 4 against the Denver Broncos, and this is another road game. Back-to-back road games here for the Detroit Lions and the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos might be a little bit of a tougher challenge than you might originally think. See, because the Broncos, I believe that they have a top 3, if not a top 2 secondary. Believe me, and this holds weight coming from a Ravens fan because I am extremely high on the Ravens secondary. I believe that they are one of, if not the best secondaries in the NFL, but the Broncos are right up there, man. They are right up there. They have the corner depth, they have the safeties, they have an extremely great secondary and just a good defense in general, and they also have a good offense. However, the question is, the quarterback position. Will it be Teddy Two Gloves? Will it be Drew Lock? Whoever the quarterback is, I don't believe the Ravens are scared of either of them. Now, of course, if the quarterback situation changes, now we have heard rumors that potentially Aaron Rodgers might be going to the Denver Broncos. If that happens, oh boy, that might change. But for now, as long as either Drew Lock or Teddy Two Gloves are the quarterbacks of the Denver Broncos, there is nothing that is going to be keeping me awake at night for Denver Broncos week. Going into week 5, I have the Ravens at 3-1, and they have another primetime game, and this one is a home game against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football, the second Monday Night Football matchup for the Baltimore Ravens this season. Similarly to the Denver Broncos, the Indianapolis Colts, to me, are a playoff team. I told everybody last season, look out for the Colts. This is a playoff team. Just because they have Phillip Rivers, do not discount this team. And that's exactly what happened. They made it to the playoffs. They damn near beat the Bills, the team that we only put up 3 points on. I know, I hate to bring it up. But the Colts are looking good. But again, just like the Broncos, the question for them is the quarterback. Carson Wentz seems to be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Will he be able to step up and play to the level that everybody has seen him play? Or will he be the Carson Wentz of the years of past? That is the question, and that being the case, I do believe that the Ravens will be the better team going into this game, and I believe that they get another win, so that to me, going into week 6, will be 4-1. Then the Ravens get another home game here against the Los Angeles Chargers, and it is a morning game for myself. Now the Chargers, another very good team, but the question is the quarterback, and Justin Herbert was Offensive Rookie of the Year last season. However, historically, the Ravens do perform extremely well against these young first or second year quarterbacks. So how will Justin Herbert perform against this Ravens defense is my question. I believe that the Ravens defense will be able to rattle him just enough so that they're able to pull out the victory. I have the Ravens at 5-1 going into week 7, and week 7 just so happens to be against our first division rival in the season. It is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, as we know, have probably had nightmares of facing up against Lamar Jackson. Ever since Lamar Jackson has been on the Ravens, he has terrorized the Cincinnati Bengals. They have seen many times the spin move, the spin cycle that Lamar Jackson put on their linebackers. They broke their ankles, as we saw. They have had nightmares about that move. And I believe that the nightmare for the Cincinnati Bengals continues. I understand they have Joe Burrow coming back. I understand they just drafted Jamar Chase. But I do believe that the Ravens secondary is going to be up for the challenge. And Lamar Jackson has another Jackson 5 potential game here against a little bit of a weaker Bengals defense. But we will have to see, because the Bengals could absolutely be a challenge. But as of right now, I see the Ravens pulling out the victory here going into week 8, which will be the bye week. So going into week 8, the bye, I have the Ravens sitting at 6-1, with their one loss being, of course, to the boogeymen, the Kansas City Chiefs, for the Ravens there. And 6-1, 6 wins before week 8 would just be absolutely phenomenal. That would be great for the Ravens. Then in week 9, they have to face up against the other purple team from the other conference. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Vikings seem to be going in a decent direction, right? They are a little bit of a tougher team to play. They're not necessarily like that lock playoff team every single season, but they're also not an easy out whatsoever. They have a tough team. They have Justin Jefferson, who a lot of Ravens fans last season loved. I did not love Justin Jefferson. Obviously, I was wrong about Justin Jefferson. He turned out to be possibly the best receiver out of last year's draft class. However, they still have Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and I do not have any faith in the other purple number 8 there for the Minnesota Vikings. Therefore, I am going to ride for my purple team and think that they get the W right after the bye week. I have the Ravens at 7-1 going into week 10 against the Miami Dolphins, another primetime game. This time it's Thursday Night Football and it's in Miami. I'm sure, shout out to my guy Ing Raven, team Keep It Clean. He's most likely going to be at that one. Now look, I know it seems like I'm giving the win here to the Ravens a lot, and that's not at all my intention. I didn't come into this schedule saying I'm just going to give the win to the Ravens on every single game. No, that's not at all the case. But this is just how I'm feeling, seeing the schedule, how it's turned out. Now with the Dolphins, historically, the Ravens usually go up to the Dolphins and take their lunch money, and then they go to their parents, and then they take the parents' money out of their purse, and they say, what are you going to do about it? They never do anything about it. We own the Dolphins. But now, this is a different Miami Dolphins team. They went 10-6 last year. They just missed the playoffs. And it looks like they could be on track to possibly make a playoff push. The biggest question mark for them, how will Tua, and I'm going to butcher his name, Tua Tagovailoa, perform this season? We have to see how that happens. But I am going to have to go with the history here. I am going to go ahead and give this win to the Ravens. I have the Ravens going 8-1 going into week 11, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I just believe that the Ravens are the better team against most of these teams, and maybe this isn't going to happen because there might be a game or two that the Ravens end up dropping that we didn't expect, but this is just my first initial reactions. Then in week 11, they have another date with an NFC North team. This time it's the Chicago Bears, and this one is once again on the road. Now the Bears did draft Justin Fields, and I gotta say, I do like Justin Fields. I like the fire that he plays with, and I believe he's gonna come into the league, and he may end up being the best quarterback of the bunch. I know that sounds insane because of Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and all of that, but I'm just saying, look out for Justin Fields. I believe he's going to be playing with fire. I believe he's going to be taking it to teams that passed on him, and I think that he is going to be pissed. However, the Ravens always do well against rookie quarterbacks, and I don't believe that this changes this season. I think that they will get the better of Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, and I get the Ravens another win here in week 11. So I have the Ravens starting off 9-1, and now I know what you're thinking. If you're not a Ravens fan, you probably think I'm being biased here. You probably think that I'm giving the Ravens too much credit, but again, this is just my exact initial reactions to the schedule. I do feel like the Ravens are better than most of these teams that they do have to face here. Then, week 12, and this starts the tough stretch here. We have the Cleveland Browns, and this is another primetime game. Let me see how many primetime games that is so far. We have the Cleveland Browns in week 12, that's 1. The Miami Dolphins, 2. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Las Vegas Raiders. So it looks like we, once again, have 5 primetime games this season. Week 12 against the Cleveland Browns in Baltimore, Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a classic. I might actually give this one to the Cleveland Browns here. Let me give you my reasoning. I believe the Ravens will actually split with the Browns this season. I do think so, just because the Browns are going to try to make a statement. They're going to come into Baltimore and they're going to say, we are the class of this division as well. It's not only you, Ravens. You know, we are also a good playoff team. I believe the Browns are going to be one of the best teams of the AFC, or at least they should be on paper, right? Unless they turn out to be the Browns, as they usually are. The Browns is the Browns. But I do believe that this could be a type of a statement game for the Browns. I think that the Ravens might be riding a little bit high coming into this game 9-1, and they might end up dropping this one. They might end up not, I don't want to say overlooking, but I just think that they're going to come in feeling a little too high on themselves, and they're going to end up coming down to earth quite a little bit. So I have the Ravens going 9-2 going into week 13, and this is the first matchup against the Pittsburgh Squealers. Sunday, 4:25 p.m., and this one is on the road at Heinz Field. Listen, a couple years ago, I predicted that the Ravens would sweep the Steelers, and I was absolutely correct. Everybody thought I was crazy when I predicted that, but guess what? I am going to predict another sweep of the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. That's right. Listen, last year, the Ravens had ample opportunities in both games to beat the Steelers, both at Heinz Field and at M&T Bank Stadium, but they ended up losing both for one reason or the other. I think this time the Ravens come back and they don't screw the pooch. They end up getting the win against the Steelers in both games. A little bit of a spoiler here, but in Week 13, I do believe the Ravens will walk into Heinz Field and they will become the Renegades and take out Big Ben, Large Benjamin, and the rest of those dancing wide receiver guys that they have over there. Going into Week 14, the Browns matchup, I have the Ravens sitting at 10-2. And like I said earlier, I have the Ravens splitting with the Browns. They will go into Cleveland and they will get the win. I believe they will be 11-2 going into Week 15 against the Green Bay Packers. And this is going to be an interesting matchup right here. Will Aaron Rodgers still be on the roster? That is the biggest question mark here. But we are going to act like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers figure everything out. And let's say that Aaron Rodgers is actually there. The Ravens are going to be 11-2 in this spot. And I'm gonna give it to the Packers, even though I don't necessarily feel right about it. Because like I said, who knows if Rodgers is going to be there at this point? I don't know. If he is, great. You know, he could possibly win this game. But if he's not, then I might actually give it to the Ravens here. But just for this sake, because I think the Ravens are not only going to lose like 2 games this season. I don't believe that's going to happen. So going into Week 16, I have the Ravens sitting at 11-3. Probably going to be in good position. Probably going to be fighting for the number 1 seed. Or at least I would like to think so. And they have another date with the Cincinnati Bengals. And just like I said earlier, I believe that the Ravens once again sweep the Cincinnati Bengals this year. Even though maybe the Bengals put up a little bit more of a fight. But I just believe that the Ravens are far and away the best team still. Then in Week 17, they have a date with the Los Angeles Rams. And this one is going to be at home in Baltimore. I do believe that the Ravens should be able to take care of business here. They're going to be sitting at 12-3, and even if they drop this game, it's not going to be a big deal. So even if they go 12-4 in Week 17 or 13-3, they're going to be sitting pretty. They're going to be doing pretty well. Now, last time the Ravens faced up against the Rams, they absolutely terrorized them. They destroyed them. I believe it was like 42-3 or something crazy like that, 42-6. I don't exactly remember the score, but I was actually at that game, and it was one of my favorite experiences of the season. So I have the Ravens taking care of business. I know they have Matt Stafford and they have a good team, but I just believe that the Ravens will be able to take care of business, make a push for the playoffs, and they're going to be at 13-3 at that spot. And of course, there is a Week 18 because now there are 17 games to be played. At this point, maybe the Ravens have a number 1 or a number 2 seed locked up. I don't know what's going to be the case here, but sitting at 13-3 is the difference between 13-4 and 14-3 really that much of a difference? It could be, depending on what the other teams do, depending on what the Chiefs look like, a team like the Bills, maybe even the Browns, maybe we're still fighting for the division, who knows at this point. But like I said, I am predicting a sweep of the Steelers, and yes, even if Tyler Huntley is starting this game, I believe that the Ravens will win this game. It doesn't matter who's going to be on the field. So there you have it. That's my initial reaction to the Ravens 2021 schedule. I have them going 14-3. And maybe that sounds a little bit crazy, man, especially since we're not used to like a 17-game schedule just yet. But the losses I do have for them are against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1 at home. I also have them losing to the Cleveland Browns at home in prime time. And then I have them losing to the Green Bay Packers at home. So all 3 losses that I have on the schedule are actually at home. Now, obviously, this is subject to change. If injuries happen, things could go wrong. You never know. But this is the case that I have so far, and I don't believe that it's totally out of this world. But let me know what you guys think. I want to hear what your predictions are. I'm very interested to see how you guys feel about this schedule. A lot of people are saying this is one of the toughest schedules that we've ever had. I think it's pretty tough, but I just have a lot of faith in this Ravens team. I think that they should be able to overcome a lot of these obstacles. Give me a follow on my social media pages and all of that good stuff. All those links are going to be down in the description box below, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Later.